If you were an avid Animal Crossing player in 2020, you probably have clear memories of the first few weeks of the game's launch. I don't have clear memories of anything that happened in 2020 due to my long-term memory being sold for 10 cents in the 2008 recession, but it did make a lasting impact on the video game sphere that we've felt ever since. The instantaneous success of the game made it pretty much impossible to ignore, and unfortunately, I wasn't one of the brave few who were able to escape its wrath. I bought the game along with an entire fucking Nintendo Switch, waited patiently for it to arrive, and set up my very first island, all because of a couple TikTok videos that were haunting me and my inner child who has been brutally living in the back of a closet for 10 years. My little slice of paradise looked like hell. I mean, I didn't know how to decorate for shit. I was just there for vibes and vibes only. I couldn't figure out how people were getting transparent paths, and my first campsite villager was so offensive to me that I bought an amiibo to get his face out of my own. Fuck you, by the way, Hippo. I hope the last thing you see in the nursing home is my scowl looking over you. All in all, though, it was a great first week to live on Lesbos, and I was knee-deep in every aspect of the game. I was ready to start consuming ungodly amounts of media, and the only thing that could stop me was my own sick brain that had no intention of doing so. In an effort to keep the fixation fed, I joined the subreddit, I know, you don't have to say it, followed the tag on Tumblr, and watched a couple YouTube videos. My entire Google search history was filled with Animal Crossing related media, and of course that leads to an interesting amount of ads coming my way. And I was expecting plushies and merchandise, which Nintendo hasn't made nearly enough of, by the way. I think Animal Crossing is one of their worst merch blunders ever, but I'll get into that someday. It wasn't any kind of stretch for me to be seeing targeted advertising for something I had put a lot of time and data into, but what I wasn't expecting is the fact that these ads were openly and blatantly telling me to spend real money on bells, Nook Miles tickets, and villagers. You've probably seen these ads before. They have Timmy and Tommy's faces on them, surrounded by shiny bags of bells and bold text that says, "Get Animal Crossing items here." I found them most often on YouTube videos, even seeing a few creators being sponsored by these sites, which honestly, you guys have got balls for that one. I really respect you. The sites looked legit enough. It wasn't some sinister black market selection of items displayed on a shitty old computer-made website. They were organized, accurately named, and gave clear instructions on how to pick up your order. They made a user-friendly experience easily accessible, and they didn't do it shoddily. Honestly, they were unassuming enough that I wouldn't even clock them as something worth thinking about for more than a few seconds. Except I've thought about them for 3 years now. Because of the ungodly amount of time I've spent thinking about them, today I'd like to discuss these online stores, where they came from, what they do, and how legal they are. Sit back, get a snack, and get ready to learn about one of the least cared about topics on this earth. I hope you're really stoked. If you're one of the lucky individuals that never saw a single one of these ads, or you happen to be smart enough to not, click them, you may be curious about what they actually are. If you clicked on one of these banners, you would usually be brought to a website that looked like it sold off-brand G Fuel, but it was polished, well-made, and usually sold other types of in-game currencies or items for different franchises. One of the most popular ones I've found, which I won't name for the sake of my YouTube channel not getting beaten to death, shows you a selection of different items to choose from. You're usually lured in by the promise of Nook Miles tickets and bells on the original ad, which they do have, but that isn't all they sell. Selections of every item you can think of are sprawled across the site, with prices averaging around 19 cents per single item. They used to be like 10 cents actually, so if you're wondering, inflation has hit Animal Crossing. These items consist of furniture, Nook Miles tickets and bells as previously mentioned, photos, flowers, fences, DIYs, you name it, they've got it. Sets of multiple items can even go into the $50 range, with a set of all 2.0 ceiling items hitting $71. So if you were thinking this would be cheap, I do in fact have some awful news for you. You do have to choose between groceries for the week or a set of Animal Crossing flooring. If your baby starves, feel free to blame it on Animal Crossing New Horizons. The Nook Miles ticket section, though, is actually quite a lot more reasonable. You can purchase a set of bells and tickets for less than $1 in the 6 million bells and 100 Nook Miles tickets pack. A cool 2,000 Nook Miles tickets leaves you at $11. Now, in theory, if you were to sit down and go through the old-fashioned way of of buying and selling turnips, it would take a little under 20 minutes, including loading, time traveling, and flight times, to buy the maximum quantity of turnips that you can carry at one time, which is 4,000 from Daisy May, and then subsequently go to a friend's island and sell them for a good profit. I apologize, we're gonna do some math real quick, so please feel free to click off. The math could be wrong too, I don't really feel like checking it anyway. Let's say you made 1,924,000 bells from selling those turnips at a manageable price of 481 bells per turnip, minus the cost of those turnips, which, let's be generous and say they were 90 bells, you'd end up with 1,564,000 bells. So if we time traveled a bunch and did this 3 times to make an even hour, we would still only be at 4,692,000 bells. So over an hour of your time could be saved for 26 cents by buying 6 million bells off of this website, which is a wildly low time to profit ratio. So in short, yeah, it seems way more enticing to cheat and buy the bells than to grind for them, until Treasure Islands came about, but that's not important right now, we'll discuss it later. Now, people with a little common sense in their noggin may be asking, why on God's green earth would you trust a site like this? And while that is a valid question, some people are not very bright, and that selection of people does include me. Plenty of websites offering too good to be true items or currency amounts in-game collect personal data and credit card information to sell on the web, which makes them able to sell the actual product for so cheap. Is this the case for any of these Animal Crossing item websites? That I don't know, but if it is, it could be incredibly dangerous. Your bank account can easily be compromised and your information made more public than it already is by the owners of these websites. Obviously, I don't advise that you put your credit card information into. Alright, I'm on website number 1, which is the specific vendor I've been talking about this whole time, Nintendo. If you're looking at that delicious report button, since these websites and any real-life currency distributions of in-game items are against the terms of service, please don't do that. This is investigative journalism. I swear, I'm doing nothing wrong. I'm just a little guy. You wouldn't ban a little guy from Nintendo Online on his birthday. The process of ordering seems pretty straightforward. I'm going to add the cheapest thing I can find to my cart because goddamn, I make $2 per video, so I'm not gonna give my cat's inheritance to this. It happens to be Isabel's photo for 5 cents, which is not a bad deal. I don't know, she's really cute. Usually costs at least 10 cents for a real life photo, so I'm gonna say that works for me. I like it. And then I am also going to add 26 cents worth of bells, which happens to be 6 million bells, because I want to see how this works. Payment fee. I'm really being run dry right now. Okay, wow. So it looks like I have to put in a dodo code, and there's instructions here. If buy bells, we will deliver gold nuggets. Please sell to Timmy NPC to get bells. Okay. Cool, I see. We've got a lot of payment methods here. It's fine. We're not gonna get hacked, okay? I'm manifesting that we're not gonna get hacked. Alright, so my gate is open. I'm just waiting for them to come now. I don't know how fast they come or who is coming, but my island is open and I'm scared. The things I do for this YouTube channel. Identity theft is absolutely one of them. Maybe I'll steal your identity next, I don't know. Keep your eye out. If I ever do a 10,000 subscriber special, it's literally just gonna be taking your guys' identities. I'm so sorry. It's awful. It's really terrible. Alright, anyway, let's see. What do? Do I just wait here? When do they come? Maybe they won't come. I just got the PayPal notification. It just says you paid $1.21 USD too fast. So that's cool. Oh, somebody's coming. Okay, is my Switch gonna get bricked? We'll see. So excited. I wonder what that says. Gold Beach. Okay, that's kind of slay. That's a little slay. I like it a little bit. That's a cute island name. Come on over. Welcome. I'm kind of scared my internet's gonna go out. I don't know why. I don't know why it would, but now I'm scared of that. I have unlocked a new fear. Fantastic. Am I gonna get copyrighted for that? I have literally never had anyone onto this island before, so I'm a little bit concerned. Am I gonna die? Is this the new Scream movie plot? I just realized they might not have anywhere to put the items. Look at that. That's an outfit. Yeah, okay. Wow. My island is filled to the brim with scene bullshit. Are they gonna be able to drop anything? Are you coming, bestie? Hey, welcome. Hi, this is Foreseen. Hello. Should I clap? I don't know. What's the etiquette here? What's the etiquette for illegal game services? Oh, okay. You want to go this way? Okay. You can come down here. The beaches, that's a good idea. That's a good thought. Here you go. Hi. What is the etiquette for this? Okay, we're actually getting gold nuggets. All right, cool. Fantastic. I don't have enough inventory space for all of this. I'll be so honest with you. I still have all of these tickets left over from that hunt. I feel like now I shouldn't have ordered the photo because obviously they're dropping things, like they're gonna drop the photo. But you know what? I had to do it for investigative journalism. I had to. This is my calling in life. Nintendo, please. This is just my friend Josh. He's cosplaying. Don't ban me. Oh, there's the photo. Okay, cool. Okay, bye. Are you not even gonna like say goodbye? Where is he going? Oh my god. Holy shit. That motherfucker's warping. Where is he going? Okay, bye. Damn. I was kind of hoping for more customer service, honestly. Maybe a wave. But those look like legit items, so great, cool. Again, this is a recreation. Is he gonna leave? Okay, bye. Goodbye. Hope you enjoyed your time here. Hope that you felt hospitality because I didn't. So these websites do actually do what they claim to do, or at least the one I was able to simulate trying. I got all of my gold nuggets and my Isabel photos, so in the most literal sense, I got everything I paid for. But that's nowhere near the end of the story, as you can probably see by how long this fucking video is. The first glaring point to mention is that my total was not 31 cents, all thanks to a payment fee of a little under $1. Granted, $1 isn't gonna make or break most people who are ordering from websites like these, but it was still a good tactic to get people lured in at a lower price and tack on an extra fee. My previous point still stands though. It is the more time-effective option to order from sites like these than spend hours grinding for Nook Miles tickets or bells. With the prices being what they are though, how do sites like these make money? Well, the obvious answer is automation via botting. A switch is illegally hacked and modded to create items for the employees of the site to deliver, meaning no actual work has to be done in-game for the website to be able to function. All the delivery players have to do is summon the item that the customer ordered through a program compatible with their modding and go to the dodo code that they were given, making it incredibly easy to carry out and take only a few minutes. However, with most going onto these websites for purchases under a few dollars, that doesn't quite seem worth it. Internet costs and wages to pay dwindle the profits quite a bit. So I figured I'd do some digging, and my first hole would be how the company claims to use your data, which is an awful sentence. Looking into the website's privacy policy, we see about as much information as a band member would give if you asked them about their allegations, which is almost nothing. One line of text is present reading, "We have encrypted the member information. As regards to the ordering information, it will not be saved or available to anyone. We do not disclose this information to any third party." Usually, privacy policies are like pages long. Needless to say, it did not make me feel all that great about giving them my information, but I've done worse on Friday nights, so whatever, who cares? I wrote this video essay on a Friday night. That was a bad idea. Obviously, by law, these companies are supposed to adhere to their privacy policy, but people do this thing a lot where they don't actually do what the law tells them to do, so it's anyone's guess where the customer's information actually goes. In addition to this, the terms and conditions of the website have absolutely nothing to say on the matter of copyright/terms of service infractions regarding Nintendo, so I can't say anything on that front either. Overall, it's a shady site. It might look harmless at the first glance, but it's certainly not a great idea to purchase from them. It's also not the worst idea in the world. That's just how the internet works these days. You have no idea where your data is going and who has it. Shit, if I was like a slightly bigger YouTuber, I really could have gotten sponsored by a great VPN for this, but whatever. Not only that, but Nintendo does have the right to punish you as they see fit if you breach their terms of service, which clearly state that you may not sell digital goods for real currency. This could mean online account suspension or content you've created being taken down. Not for me though, I have only recreated possible events and not actually done anything. Ever. No. Now let me be clear, I haven't personally heard of any action being taken against people who have ordered from these websites, but that could change at any moment, and it is the safest decision to not order. However, this wasn't quite satisfying for me, so I had to at least try and ask the company what was going on here, because I'm a fucking idiot and I thought it would work. This particular site has a live chat button, so I headed over there and, lied about why I was contacting them. This section had a sell to us button, which would be interesting if not for the fact that I believe this is for games like Genshin Impact with gacha elements, which they also happen to sell and probably make most of their money off of. I asked the customer service rep if it was safe and legal to purchase from the site in accordance with the Nintendo terms of service. My wait time was about a minute. I was the only person in line. My agent, Cheska, typed for a bit, and I got something that wasn't quite an answer, but they did report back that they have never heard of anyone being banned for purchasing, and this absolutely could be a lie, but Chesko is cute and fun to talk to, so I'm giving her a pass. The pace at which the representative typed and how they spoke gave off the vibes that they were a real human, and I do genuinely think that there were agents paid to work there. Now, I could be wrong, and this could be just a very well-programmed bot, but I do feel like if you had a legitimate issue, you could get a hold of somebody to fix it. Circling back to what I said earlier, this website in particular also sells items and currency in games that are more popular currently, like Genshin Impact and its new sister Honkai Star Rail. Diablo 4, Elden Ring, and Rocket League are among the other games they service, which is where I assume they make most of their money at this current moment. The tide of game trends turns and turns, and it will always keep evolving, so they have to update their market to meet that, and I think that that's exactly what they did with Animal Crossing when it originally came out. I do have to come clean for a moment. This is not my first time simulating the purchase of Animal Crossing items. I tried it out in 2020 and had a similar experience. However, back then the wait time stood at a solid 20 minutes, a stark difference from the 1-minute purchase time I experience today. Of course, with the natural ebb and flow of game popularity, that makes perfect sense, but even at the prime of these website sales numbers, I doubt they were making a fortune off of 10-cent items. I also cannot confirm that every website claiming to deliver in-game items will actually do that, and I'm certainly not putting my credit card number into any more, so you're gonna have to trust my belief system here and go with the research that I have been able to do. These websites are nowhere near as easy to come by these days, and I can't be sure as to whether this is due to Nintendo cracking down on the advertisements or the game's dwindling player base. However, there is one changing element that I can be confident has impacted the sales, and that is treasure islands. If you've ever read anything on the internet, like at all, you've probably heard of Twitch at least once. The streaming platform is home to the biggest selection of live content creators anywhere on the internet, most of them being, well, I don't really use Twitch, so I guess it's best for me to shut the fuck up. But just like YouTube, Twitch has a great variety of different topics and themes to choose from, one of these being free 24/7 treasure islands for Animal Crossing. But what even is a treasure island? I'm still sick, as you can probably tell, sorry. Think of a self-serve version of the websites we just discussed. Thousands of items are laid out in rows on a completely flat island, usually modded to look like it's been through a nuclear power plant explosion. These item selections can range from DIYs to furniture to Nook Miles tickets and materials, event items, you name it, you can usually find it for free on a Treasure Island stream. You're able to join these islands by going to the airport and entering the dodo code that's seen on your screen, battling with 2 to 5 other people trying to fly in at the same time. It's a sensory nightmare, but it works, and you just better sit down and hope to God that nobody has an unstable internet connection, because you're always one wrong move away from losing every item you've picked up. It's like survival of the fittest in terms of internet quality, and I've lost this game many times, and it never gets better. Hell is real, and Twitch.tv has created it. These streams are usually always on, going for 24 hours at a time or more, and being fairly unmoderated by a human person. Multiple islands are available to go to at once, with most of them being full or near full at all times. You cannot rest for a damn second if you're attempting to get on one. It is workable and you can absolutely get on, but it's a stressful situation for almost anyone. So with these streams being available to the public and broadcasted to everyone, does that mean that they are compliant with terms of service? They're free and all? Well, no, they're not. The islands themselves are modded to all hell, which, like we've seen with a few creators, is an easy way to get your content taken off of any website that you post it to. Nintendo does not allow modding or hacking of their products. Not only are the layouts themselves modified, but the islands are replenished every time a player leaves by a system of bots, meaning that the entire system relies on a transformation of the game to work. These treasure islands, if you've been here for a while, are also the big bosses behind the Star Tree debacle. If you wanted these perfect modded little fairy trees in your game, along with things like Harvey's fences and clothesline, you could pick up broken looking items, bring them home, and they'd pop up into normal furniture. It was pretty neat and completely harmless, but as we all know, bubbles had to burst and these trees and special items were completely patched out of the game in 2021. What you may not know though is that this update also attempted to phase out treasure islands by making the bots that island owners created for this purpose completely unusable. I am not a tech person and I don't know how the fuck they did this, but it shut down treasure islands for a mere few days before their owners were somehow able to fix the bots and bypass the updates. These people are true American war heroes, I won't lie to you. Not everyone is going to be comfortable waiting in big long treasure island lines though, and that is where Twitch subscriptions come into play. Twitch subscriptions, if you for some reason don't know, allow you to turn off advertisements and support the streamer directly for a monthly fee, usually about $6. In the case of treasure island streamers, they're used used a bit differently. They give you a Disneyland Fast Pass of sorts for subscriber-only islands. These islands are usually accessed through a Discord server or something similar and may have a queue system for organized flights. They usually have less people, more options, and make the islands a viable income source with little upkeep. Some may even have characters on the islands called order bots, which allow you to type a command in a Discord channel and have certain items appear in game. Which is fucking wizardry to me, by the way. What the fuck? How do you even do that? What are you guys hiding from me? This method of payment and island visiting is what we see most commonly today, but treasure islands weren't always Twitch streams. They began first on Etsy. Etsy treasure islands and Twitch treasure islands are not owned by larger companies like the websites previously mentioned. They're usually owned by individuals working out of their homes and programming the bots themselves to create the original treasure island market. In 2021, when the game was still fresh, treasure islands began to pop up in Etsy listings. You would purchase an hour slot, go to the island, and take as many trips as possible in the allotted time. These usually costed upward of $7 per hour, so the price difference between personal treasure islands and the in-game item sites is quite staggering. It does make sense though, considering you could fill your pockets as many times as you wanted, and these were owned by individuals, not large companies masquerading as small businesses. They were also completely Animal Crossing focused rather than branching out to other games, so the market was pretty slim. Nintendo did attempt to crack down on these Etsy listings, many popping up only to be taken down hours after and relisted under a different name. There was a tactic of trying to convince Etsy that their actions complied with Nintendo's terms of service by stating that the payment was not for the in-game items, but rather the work and time and effort put in to collect those items, which isn't entirely truthful because the bots collected them. Not that it really mattered anyway though, because Nintendo wasn't a fan of that shit either. In any case, some listings were able to fall under the radar and could be purchased. In my time, I have never heard of anyone being scammed by these sellers, and Etsy has a great encrypted payment system that doesn't allow sellers near your card information. In fact, I've heard of most people being very happy with these experiences. They're personal, they're one-on-one, and they're a lot easier to get into than Twitch treasure islands. Of course, I can't endorse them, but I can say that I haven't heard of any issues, other than the whole Star Tree debacle, which, whatever. That was an Etsy-originated thing. On to the dreaded other part of this economy that has permeated the skulls of every single Animal Crossing player while having nothing to do with bots: the Raymond boom. You may remember bursts of screenshots from eBay showing bids for the villager Raymond in boxes stacking up into the hundreds in terms of price. You might be expecting me to say that they were all some fake meme thing and that nobody should have believed them, but they were unfortunately very real listings. However, at that point in time, the game was still incredibly fresh and botting hadn't been perfected yet. This means that every person listing a poor little fucked up Meow Meow was either lying about owning him or found him through in-game mechanics like villager hunting or through the campsite. Raymonds being sold at this point were not hacked in any capacity, and they were sold simply as is, RNG with a side of twink energy. This was, in all fairness, the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. This was not a case of items being created for the purpose of being given to players, but an exploitation of the game hype and a weird way to make money. None of these people had any idea what they were doing and were blatantly going against terms of service without any shortcuts. Most of these listings were taken down quite quickly, but some absolutely did get purchased before the fad was over. These were overall completely unimportant in terms of the entire Animal Crossing real money economy, but memories of this time live rent-free in many people's heads, so I felt the need to mention it. In fact, on many Twitch Treasure Island subscriptions, bots are able to load in villager requests, so in a weird way you can still buy Raymond, just not for hundreds of dollars on eBay. I don't fucking know why you do that though, something is wrong with you all. Anyway, in terms of safety, Twitch and Etsy are the only places you are guaranteed purchase protections, but is it a good idea to purchase them? Is this sort of thing even ethical? So, now that you know everything there is to know about the Animal Crossing real-life money economy, let's talk safety and legality. The ethical side of this subject is fairly nuanced, so please feel free to share your take on it in the comments. I'd love to hear it. But anyway, let's get back to the actual meat of this. Treasure islands, which are often visible to the public, seem to place the least liability on the player. These islands are guilty of violating the hacking terms. However, when you visit a random treasure island, you are not paying any money for the items you acquire, and you yourself have not done any of the game modding. In theory, allegedly, blah blah blah, if Nintendo were to take any action, you wouldn't be responsible for hacking the island owner would. Plus, in this day and age, the items themselves are not actually hacked. They may have been brought into the game by a bot, but they are not an actual hacked item unlike the star trees. As long as you're on a safe treasure island, they should function just like any other item that was legally brought into the game. Visiting a hacked island, whether by Dodo Airlines or by Dream Address, has never really seemed to be much of an issue, nor have any modded islands that were completely private, but I digress. In any case though, even when you specifically pay money to the person providing you the treasure island service, there is statistically very minimal risk associated with it. If anything, the person who owns the treasure island is at far more risk than you, and most have been able to continue functioning without any issues. Many of your favorite Animal Crossing YouTubers use them for builds without any repercussions. I know this because I'm very cool and I'm in with all of the cool kids, and you're not. The largest risk for you as a consumer is getting your information stolen or sold on shadier sites, and that has no impact on your game life unless you're doing freaky shit, I don't know, and that doesn't occur on treasure islands. Twitch islands, even more so, have an aspect of anonymity to them due to the amount of players coming and going. If Nintendo decided out of the blue to take action against treasure islands, the number of visitors would make it impossible for them to catalog and reprimand every player. If safety in numbers makes you feel better, though there's minimal risk for other outlets, that would be the one that you would want to pick. Nintendo hasn't taken action on pretty much anything since 2022, so I think you're in the clear. However, all of these actions are still against policy, and I can't advise you to take part in any of them. I'm just stating the facts, you know? Be good eggs and don't do anything I wouldn't do. I don't endorse any of this. With that being said, why would you take the risk of violating the terms of service at all? Why not head to a fan-made trading website like, say, Nookazon? Well, there's plenty of reasons for that. Back in Nookazon's heyday, users would vastly inflate prices of items, making viable furniture 3 to 5 Nook Miles tickets. Nook Miles tickets are incredibly hard to get mass amounts of when playing the game as intended, so even if you did want to acquire them normally, you would be spending hours and hours to receive 1 or 2 tickets. The amount of grinding it took to secure one stupid fucking table was insane, and for new players, it could be quite daunting. Of course, if you took the time to learn the lay of the land, you could list your own items and acquire tickets that way, but that still required pretty constant interaction, and some people on the internet are fucking weird. Shout out to my friend Vi's Nookazon horror story involving a child who would not leave them the fuck alone. That was cool. The interaction can be unpredictable, and there's always a chance of a malicious player destroying your island without much of a method to stop them. In any case, treasure islands are faster and easier, especially for those who love to build elaborate islands involving hundreds of furniture pieces. If you were to acquire each item individually from different sellers, it would nearly quadruple the time needed to prepare for the build. The ease of treasure islands pretty much completely demolishes the need for Nookazon and turnip exchange, which is why I think the websites have gone downhill over the past few years. That and, you know, the passage of time. Also, the Nookazon data breach really wasn't the best look for them, and there's almost nothing you can do to change that. With all that said, if these websites and streams are so easy to use, why are they against Nintendo's terms of service? What's the issue with them? Nintendo has pretty much always been very against the modding or tweaking of their games, unlike EA and Mojang or indie games like Stardew Valley. They have ownership over their content, and being a family-friendly brand, I assume they prefer to be able to control their image. Most modders are lovely, talented individuals, but there is always a possibility that the ability to make a mod will lend itself to suspicious, sinister behavior, and I'm sure Nintendo would like to avoid that as much as possible. Mods that integrate offensive or illegal content reflect terribly on the game's parent company, so I can see why Nintendo isn't a big fan of this. However, please just let people have fun, Jesus Christ. In terms of selling items, there is a very good reason why in-game item websites aren't allowed, and that is because Nintendo remains a brand consumed mostly by children. Taking advantage of those children without the common sense to truly make good decisions is incredibly immoral. We've all seen kids buy hundreds of dollars worth of Fortnite coins or whatever and be completely unaware of what they're actually doing. Maybe they see one of these ads, stumble across it, and just put in daddy's credit card number because they can. They have no concept of money or how it will affect their parents. They just buy, and possibly get scammed. It's also just not the coolest to sell items that can be acquired for free, but whatever, that's just me. But let's say you're an adult who can make your own decisions with your money, or someone who is receiving Treasure Island access for free. Is it wrong to take advantage of these services? The Animal Crossing economy without the intervention of Nookazon is very fixed. There isn't bell inflation or ticket inflation, and when you're able to acquire these items without player-to-player interactions, nothing changes for other gamers. I don't know why I just said gamers, I think I'm gonna throw up in my mouth anyway. Basically, you get your items, you leave, and the price, which is free, stays the same. There aren't more or less of these items in the game, and no scarcity or abundance is created. It doesn't affect anything when you pick up items from the treasure islands. The overall economy and different prices of items cannot be manipulated by the player, again, unless there's player-to-player trading, so you're good to go there. As for the purchasing websites, I honestly cannot tell you who is behind them and if their workers are treated fairly. That's not something I can get a behind-the-scenes look at, so it remains a mystery. Overall, I can't endorse any of this, but that's the whole story laid out as neatly as possible. I mean, not really, but it's laid out. I did this in a weird format. That's everything I have to talk about today. 3 years after Animal Crossing's launch, here we sit. Nookazon has grown quiet, treasure islands have evolved into a semi-free service, and Raymonds are no longer being listed on Etsy. The underbelly that was once visible has faded into secrecy. These ads are no longer, and yet I'm still making a long-ass, annoying-ass video about them, so nothing has changed really. Whether you decide to take part in the Animal Crossing real money economy or not, now you know more about it and how it came to be, how it evolved, and what it is now. Once again, I am not endorsing or telling you to do anything. Please keep your options in mind before you do anything that is against the Nintendo terms of service, and Nintendo, please don't take down my video. Please. As of today, my credit card information is still fine, but then again, none of that was real, so who knows, but I still haven't gotten any issues. I hope you enjoyed this video essay. I hope you had a fun time listening to me talk about this bullshit, and I really appreciate you coming here. I hope that this was fun, even though it's slightly different from what I normally do. I appreciate you taking the time to stick around and say hello. Thank you guys so much. I will see you next time. Thank you to all of my members, and I love you. Goodbye. I don't endorse any of this.